Imagine giving away over $1 million, not once, but again and again, just to make people smile. Sounds unreal, right? But for me, it's real. People often assume I was born rich, that I'm some trust fund kid who had it easy. Truth. My mom was in the military. She raised me and my brother on her own, working long hours to keep us going. Back when I started making YouTube videos, there was no money, no fame, just a quiet kid uploading videos that no one really watched. And yeah, those early videos, they were awful. But I kept going, one video at a time, one failure at a time. For years, I earned next to nothing, just scraps, but I didn't stop. I kept grinding, year after year, not because I wanted to be famous or rich, but because I believed in something bigger. Quick emotional cut. Excited music beat. I remember doing crazy challenges like, whatever fits in this circle, we'll buy it for you. People cried, some clapped, others just stood in disbelief. One man said, nobody's ever blessed us like this before, and honestly, that's what keeps me going. It might sound selfish, but helping people, that's what fills me up. Seeing their faces light up, that raw moment of surprise, that's my favorite kind of happiness. Music softens again. As a kid, I was shy, really shy. I didn't like crowds. I barely talked, but dreaming of becoming a YouTuber, that dream kept me alive inside. Later, I realized something huge. Brands can help me help people. That was my light bulb moment. Like I cracked the code. I know it's funny to say, but I get joy from giving. I'm not a superhero. I'm not a genius. I just love to give. Back when I was 13, if you told me I'd one day give away $1 million in one video, I wouldn't even understand how much that was. I might have asked, is that more than $100? Because back then, even $50 felt like a fortune. I grew up in a small town in North Carolina. Nothing fancy. Just me, my brother, and my mom, constantly moving because of her military service. She served 21 years. And during some of those years, we were stationed at different army bases. That's how my childhood looked, simple, scattered, and full of dreams. Jimmy's childhood wasn't like most kids. While others were out playing tag, glued to cartoons, or kicking a ball around, Jimmy was building worlds. Literally, his entire room would transform into a giant Lego city. Its walls, towers, everything, constructed by his tiny hands, brick by brick. It was more than just playtime. It was purpose. Even at a young age, there was something intense about Jimmy. He didn't just like things, he lived them. When he discovered baseball, that intensity found a new outlet. He didn't just want to play, he wanted to win. Practice wasn't a chore, it was life. Every swing of the bat, every step on the field, it meant something. Little League became his universe, and later, in Babe Ruth, that love only grew stronger. But while his passion was big, his voice was small. Jimmy was painfully shy. Introverted. Social settings made him uncomfortable. That first day on the baseball field, he didn't know how to talk to anyone. He'd pull his cap down low over his eyes to hide, but the coaches would gently lift it, just to see his face. He couldn't even make eye contact. It wasn't that he didn't want to connect, he just didn't know how. He was a quiet observer in a world full of noise. At home, things were tough too. His mom, a military veteran, was constantly on duty, moving base to base. She was doing everything she could to provide, but that meant Jimmy spent a lot of time alone. No dad, no sibling close by, so he filled the silence with two things: ESPN and YouTube. While his classmates talked about music, sports, or video games, Jimmy was obsessed with something they didn't even understand. YouTube wasn't cool back then, wasn't normal. And because of that, Jimmy felt like an outsider. Like no one could relate to the world that fascinated him. But then came Chris, a friend, someone who did understand. Chris was goofy, energetic, naturally funny, and he loved videos, just like Jimmy did. They connected instantly. Chris became a part of Jimmy's early videos, and the chemistry was undeniable. He brought life to the screen. Laughter, energy, and slowly, that quiet boy behind the camera started finding his voice. One day, everything changed. Jimmy watched a video from one of his favorite YouTubers, Woody's Gamertag. In that video, Woody quit his job to pursue YouTube full-time. It hit Jimmy like a lightning bolt. You can do this. You can actually make money doing what you love. He was only 12, but right then and there, the dream was born. He didn't have a plan, he didn't have money, but he had belief. And the very next day, Jimmy created his first YouTube channel. Chris, he was subscriber number 1. When I first came up with the name MrBeast, I thought this just sounds cool. That's it, no deep meaning, no master plan. Just a kid messing around, thinking the name sounded wild enough to stand out. Those early days, they were rough. I was throwing myself into videos with no real clue what I was doing. One minute I was ranting into a mic, the next, I was trying weird YouTube experiments. Just a teenager with a cracked screen, cheap headphones, and a head full of dreams. At the time, I didn't have a solid direction. I was just trying everything. Commentary, videos, gameplay recordings, voiceovers about YouTube drama, you name it, I tried it. Sometimes I'd play games in the background while talking about whatever was on my mind. It wasn't professional, it wasn't polished, but it was mine. I even made videos analyzing other YouTubers. How much does PewDiePie make? Or what's Logan Paul's real income? That kind of thing. Just imagine a 14-year-old digging through Social Blade and trying to sound like a finance expert. It was cringy, but I kept going because I loved it. But then, something happened that flipped my entire life upside down. At 15, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. A word I had never even heard before suddenly became my reality. Crohn's is brutal. It's a chronic illness that inflames your digestive system, and for me, it meant constant stomach pain, exhaustion, and not being able to keep any food down. I'd eat something, and within hours it would just pass through me. My body wasn't absorbing anything. At one point, I dropped down to 139 pounds. At 6'2", I looked like a skeleton. My energy was gone. I couldn't walk far. I couldn't think straight. I was constantly nauseous. Baseball, something I loved, became pure torture. I was always throwing up behind the dugout, running to the bathroom between innings. I wanted to play in college. That dream, gone. It wasn't just the pain, it was the identity crisis. I was too weak to be a regular teenager, too sick to hang out with friends, too tired to even care. For months, my family and I tried different medications, different diets, anything to help me feel like myself again. But Crohn's doesn't care about your plans. It doesn't care about your dreams. I hated my life during that time. I was miserable. I wanted to disappear. But there was one thing that gave me a reason to wake up. YouTube. Even though I was shy, even though I couldn't talk confidently, even though I hated my own voice, I still kept recording. Because somewhere deep inside, I believed YouTube could be more than just an escape. It could be my future, so I made a decision. I'd commit myself fully. I said to myself, no more excuses, no more fear. I'll upload a video every other day for 3 months straight and see what happens. And I stuck to it. I skipped hangouts. I skipped movies. While others were out having fun, I was in my room, editing, recording, uploading, obsessing. Friends started to see it too. They realized this wasn't a phase. This was my life now. I still remember hitting 3,000 subscribers and freaking out. I was talking in third person to myself, shouting, why does this guy have 3,000 subs? Like I was a whole different person. It was surreal. And when I hit 10,000 subscribers, that was the moment. That was when I finally told my mom, hey, I'm doing YouTube. Because up until then, she had no idea. She'd walk past my room and hear me talking nonstop. She thought I was just chatting with gamer friends or people from baseball. She didn't know I was pouring my heart into hundreds of videos. She didn't know I was slowly building something that would change our lives forever. All she saw was her shy kid, locked away, whispering into a mic. But behind that door, a storm was brewing. And now we're here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon because this journey's just getting started.